I may never lay your head down, down and have to go. They never make you I just like a sweet and crazy brother to me. Try to love just like I should. Never told me that behind my back. I know that somebody better. Come be, won't you bear mine? Love is a lesson to learn and I'm dying. Here in oh, may you never lay your head down. And I'll have to go. May you never make your bed down. I got still like a sweet sister to me. You know I love you like I should. You never told me that my sisters I've never should. Gee, won't you please, won't you bear in mind? Love is a lesson to learn in our time. Please, won't you bear in mind? Oh, may you never lay your head down without a hand to hold. May you never make your bed out in the cold. I remain just like a sweet and crazy brother to me. You know I love you like I should. You never told that you could have I know there's some out there. I please, won't you bear in mind? Love is a lesson to learn and now. Yes, in mind. Oh, may you never lose your temper when you get in a barroom fight. May you never lose your woman overnight. Oh, may you never lay your head down. Down and go. May you never make your bed out on the floor. Now, got to do that foolish thing. No, do that foolish thing. I may lay your head down without a hand to hold. May you never lick your bed out in the cold.
Shout out Bruce Gas, aka Toker too. You know I had to drop a track with my boy.
Hey, where you at?
Yeah, I've been in your wrestling boys out here telling favors. I'm the hardest young nigga, I ain't signed to no label. Hey, Bruce Gas putting up fights on the table. Calling that boxing since Kane versus Abel. Smoking so much gas, you would think that shit was fatal. On the people's champion like Muhammad Ali. Shout out Bruce Gas, one day we gon' meet. Yeah, we gon' blow it down, we gon' smoke hella weed. Yeah, we gon' blow it down, take a hit out the Toker too. Slipping hella shots, feel like Tyson with the peak. Little Glock on my side, but it hit just like Isaac Cruz. Shout out man, Chad, real shit, that's my fucking dude.
My fucking dude.
Strapped to my side, I ain't talking about no sample. Bruce passed me the blunt, I'ma light it like a candle. Hey, non-stop bars, man, I always spit flames. Feel like Bruce Gas always got a different strain. Bitch, you ain't like me, you can never feel my pain. You win and you lose, well, this the fight game. Don't beef on the net and the shit won't change. Said that on the string, gotta do it for the game. Said that on the string, gotta do it for the chat. I ain't undisputed. Yeah, hold on, I ain't undisputed, but I want all the strap.
That's my man, 150. 150. Here's my other man, my brother George Jakovic. Salute, George. Welcome.
Tuesday night, baby.
You know it, my man. You know it. Tuesday night, we do what we do best. Hanging out, digging on the. I mean, this is well. First of all, let's start this day off correctly here, brother. Let's start this day off correctly. We got a birthday wish out there, and bro, I know this is special. This is special to you, my brother. So take it away, brother. I haven't heard anybody mention it all day today.
Yeah, Sugar Ray Leonard. Happy birthday to the Sugar Man. He's right behind me as always. It make these are the things that make me feel like I'm getting old when Sugar Ray Leonard's like in his 60s now. He's 66, I believe.
66. No, I think he's 65. I think he's 2 years younger than I am. But you would know better though, George. You would know better.
I mean, I've talked about Sugar Ray every single show. So we could do a complete show on him, but it's his birthday. He's one of the greatest of all time. Happy birthday to the Sugar Man, Sugar Ray Leonard.
I'm gonna have a smoke on the Sugar Man,
and I'm gonna have some water on the Sugar Man.
I've had plenty of my water today. I got a few buds in the background if you notice here.
Hey, so Bruce, I know you're big in nutrition. For the past week, ever since I visited Joe Smith's camp, I've been trying to get back into real shape. And so for the last week, I've been drinking over a gallon of water a day. And I got to tell you how much better you feel, even waking up in the morning, how much better I feel drinking that much water every day. It's amazing.
You hear me always expound on the benefits of water because water it's in us. It's what it is, man. Hey, let's shout out everybody that came in to see us over here today, man.
There's a lot of people in there already.
We're talking good stuff over here, man. We're talking good stuff over here. Let me get down to the beginning over here, man. Carl Hansen. Carl's not going to make the show. He's in Australia. So it's about 7 o'clock in the morning to Carl right now. And I think Carl has to go to work. Some people have to do that for a living, George. After you and I told that for 50 years of our lives, other people have to do that every day. Poor bastards. God bless you, Carl. Thank you for coming in here, man. Mo Boxing, my brother. Mo Boxing, another brother from across the pond. Salute to my brother Mo Boxing. Brandon, he's been on the show with us before. Salute, Brandon. Mr. Doc. Mr. Doc, Mr. Doc, you would be a useful commentator here with us because this is your era, and we'll see what happens a little bit here because I got a couple of people that might be coming on if Mad Chad doesn't show up, Doc. See, Doc, I don't have your email address or anything. I can never hook up with you. But anyway, Doc, thank you for coming in, my brother. You're gonna enjoy this show regardless. Mr. Pads, always showing love. Pads. Always showing love, man. The Justice of Dick Justice is here today. Nice. Salute, Dick Justice. Our Croatian brother here. George, we're international here, my man.
That's what it's
We're
all about.
international.
Boxing brings us all together.
Remy, my brother. Remy.
Yeah, Remy.
Salute, Remy. Thank you for coming by, brother. And Remy, I'm looking at those two cars that you sent me. The car and the truck, bro. They're in front of me. I look at them every day, bro. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. St. Cruisin, my brother, the OG, another OG man. St. Cruisin, a man of my own heart, bro. I wish I had known you throughout the years, St. Cruisin. I think we would have had a hell of a ride together, my brother. I think we would, man. Mr. Pads, Doc, Mike Biggs. Mike Biggs is another one, man. A great boxing fan, has a good live show out there. Everybody on here, man. You know, that's what I do in my old age, George. I go around. I listen to all my brothers, my sisters on their YouTube channels. I catch up on my boxing. I get re-educated to things that I didn't know that passed me by. And man, Mike Biggs always out there, always good stuff out there, man. Nitty G, my brother. Salute, Nitty G. B&N. Yes, sir, B&N. Salute, my brother, B&N. Another, you know, somebody put this tag on us. They called us content creators, George. I don't know what the fuck that means, bro, but I get.
As long as they call us something, you know.
I guess these guys are content creators, and my brother Mark Unrivaled, man. Another great brain in the
Yep.
in the world of boxing over here. Yes, hydration. You know that, bro. I mean, I learned that many years ago. You know, water is just so key. Everything else we drink it's added to water. So your body's going to eliminate those things to get at the water because your body craves water, you know, constantly throughout the day. Mark, good night, my brother. Good night.
It's a lot of people in here already. Woo.
Oh yeah, man. I appreciate it. We got 14 people in here, man. You know the old saying, I want to see 14 likes in here. I see 11 likes. Well, that's almost 14, but let's get those likes up, man. Pounds, salute my brother. I think they got something to do with this thing called algorithm. Another one of these funky little words I've learned in the last few years, and I guess they're a good thing. Carlos Mendoza, I hope you're feeling better, my brother. Carlos is just getting. I don't know if he's gotten over it yet, but he just contracted the deadly. What we all got the vax for. Corona. He ducked and dodged it for all these months and for all these years, and bango, comebacks and hit him like a Joe Frazier left hook.
He'll bounce back.
BK, salute to you, man. Hey, George, what do you think? By the way, everybody out there, I'm sure you know this show is all about the legendary tournament that Don King put together, 86 and 87, where see the heavyweight championship was not unified. Muhammad Ali lost to Leon Spinks, and Leon was supposed to fight Ken Norton. That was his mandatory, but he chose to go for a rematch with Ali. I couldn't blame him.
No, that was the fight that's the only fight he should have taken.
But what that did was that splintered the long-standing unified heavyweight champion, undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. So now we have Leon Spinks didn't want to fight Ken Norton, so the WBC, in its infinite wisdom, they bestowed the title on Ken Norton.
Crazy, he never won it in the ring. A lot of people don't know that. We know what most boxing people know, but Kenny Norton won the heavyweight championship of the world without having a fight. Just had it bestowed upon him. And boxing did what it does best. It fragmented those titles, and the 80s was kind of a lost decade for a good part of it. You had Larry Holmes, but once his reign ended, it was like a free-for-all until Don King had this tournament. And we all know what came of it, but it was a big deal, man. It was a big deal.
It was huge. BK, salute my brother. Phil Beavis, shout out to you, my man. Thanks for coming in here. And PGH Big Dog, salute my brother. Salute. All these cats who deal with me over the other side of the bay, they're all going off to bed now, George. We're just starting to cook over here. I just ate a couple of edibles that one of my loyal subs mailed to me this weekend. And bro, I still have a couple left. So these guys are just getting off to bed. You know, my wife is actually thinking about she goes to bed early. The sun is up now. The moon hasn't even come up. And she's kind of winding down. But me, I'm getting revved, my brother. I'm getting revved, especially for this series we're going to talk about. So let's get back to that. Now, Don King, he had this young kid named Mike Tyson in his stable. But Mike Tyson didn't have a title, and all these titles were all fragmented. And plus, we have to remember the IBF had been developed in the meantime, and they gave their inaugural heavyweight championship belt to Larry Holmes.
That's right.
Who should have been the heavyweight champion all through this mess. I mean, these other divisions, they should have recognized Larry Holmes as the champion. I don't know if it's like it was today, if streets couldn't be crossed or if contracts couldn't be signed.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember rumors when Mike Weaver had I think he had the BA belt, and they talked about him and Holmes having a rematch because they fought earlier in Holmes' career. That never happened. So they never really made an attempt to unify the titles. Look, you have to give credit to Don King for doing this, for getting all these titles together.
And then we had the South Africans that came into the picture, and Don King didn't want to do business with South Africa, but in a sly little way, he kind of did towards the
of course he did.
Towards the middle there. But of course Larry Holmes wouldn't fight a South African, and that pretty much put a nail in there where we had the WBA title, which was passed around like a hot potato at the time. I mean, how many WBA champions were there? Let's see. I think the first one after Ali would be would it be
Tate? John Tate.
John Tate, exactly.
John Tate to Mike Weaver to Michael Noakes
to
Coetzee. I think Greg Page beat Coetzee.
Yes, Greg Page beat Coetzee, and
then
Greg
Witherspoon beat Page.
Witherspoon beat Page. And Thomas beat Witherspoon.
You know what I remember, Bruce, really about that era? And now, Tim Witherspoon, there was a lot of really good heavyweights, but a lot of those guys, Greg Page was a great talent. They never came in tip-top shape. Tony Tubbs is another one. Great amateur talent. Never came in shape. It was kind of like a lost era of heavyweights.
That was pretty much known as the era of the flabby heavyweights.
Yeah.
I mean, talent like you wouldn't believe. Yep. And they all seemed to see that they called that the generation that was ruined by Muhammad Ali, because there were so many that tried to impersonate Ali. They tried to imitate, but they could never duplicate. I mean, it was Greg Page and Tony Tubbs. They all had that fast feet. They kept their hands low.
Yeah, Greg Page was from Louisville too. He was supposed to be. He was one of the many that they were going to be the next Ali, which obviously that's never going to happen. But so much talent. There was a lot of talent that was just never. Their talent never came to fruition. They were never as good as they could have been.
Sliding counter. Salute, my brother. Thanks for coming by. Khan Shawnery. Khan, always here, brother. Always here, and always ask a lot of good questions, my man. Yeah. Always ask some good questions. Now, when Don King put this tournament together, I remember he announced it at the Tim Witherspoon and the Tony Tubbs championship fight.
Oh God, that was a boring fight.
That was a boring fight. And, for what they paid them, the champion Tubbs, I think he got $250,000. Witherspoon got $50,000 for that fight. Isn't that for a heavyweight? That was probably the lowest paid to a contender. Maybe since then. Before that, I don't know. But that just, Tim told me that himself, and I said, "What?" And he said, "Yeah, that's all I got for that fight." But I was promised, because Don King's going to have this $26 million heavy tournament on HBO, and all I have to do is beat all I have to do is beat Tony Tubbs, and I'm in it. And he was not for long, but
I know.
I mean, and Don King, he had all the champions, Actually, Larry had lost his WBF to Michael Spinks, but their rematch was part of the tournament.
Sure was. Boy, I thought Holmes won that rematch.
Oh, I thought Holmes won by stoppage. I was at the 10th, 11th round. Michael Spinks stopped fighting, put his hands down, was hit by a punch, and kind of just
his whole body wobbled. He never actually, but it was the weirdest reaction to a punch. Yeah, he got hit with a big right and kind of wobbled and almost went down. But Holmes at that point just didn't have enough to finish him. But I thought he won that fight.
I thought he won both fights, George. But that was the second fight. This fight started with Berbick and Pinklin Thomas. Pinklin Thomas was another one who the drugs got the best of him.
Yeah, you're right. He's another guy that had. I mean, they were grooming him to replace Holmes, and he knocked out Mike Weaver. He made some defenses of his belt, and he looked like he might be the guy. And then he wasn't. Then he got beat by Trevor Berbick, and that was the end. Really, Pinklin Thomas. He got a shot a few years later against Tyson, but he never.
That fight was actually part of the tournament.
Yeah,
that was there was a fight for the vacated IBF because not vacated, stripped. Michael Spinks was stripped of that title because he wouldn't fight. I think he wouldn't fight Tony Tucker. And Tucker fought Buster Douglas, and that was the undercut. That was the co-main event for Mike Tyson and Pinklin Thomas.
Boy, remember? I mean, it's so funny when you look back. Buster Douglas literally quit in that fight. Who would have known that he would be the guy to topple the undisputed heavyweight champion a few years later? You know, you never know. No one could have ever predicted that.
No, nobody. Javier, salute, brother. Thanks for coming by. The thing was to have. We look at the heavyweight division today. How people like Joe Joyce and people like Deontay Wilder, and I mean every single one of them they seem to be on their own planet. But Don King just corralled every one of those champions, all the contenders.
Well,
and we're going to have a heavyweight tournament for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world.
You know, at least he didn't have. Mike Tyson was not part of his stable. He was dying to do business with him. Of course, he did get an agreement with Tyson, but those guys, you've read as much about Tyson as I have. Bill Caton and Jim Jacobs did not want to do business with Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson his name got to be big enough where he didn't have to sign an exclusive contract. I mean, at that point, Don King knew the only way I can do this tournament is to have Mike Tyson in it. That's the only way this is going to work. And Tyson didn't even have a belt at that time.
Well, and that was at the time of shout out to the Jedi. That was the time of Tyson's personal dilemma where Cus D'Amato had just died,
right?
And Tyson was with Bill Caton because Jimmy Jacobs had passed away too, and Jimmy Jacobs was the Cus D'Amato figure, and Tyson they loved each other. But then when Jimmy Jacobs died, Tyson he didn't know what to do. Don King was telling him one thing, Caton was telling him another thing. Basically Don King really got Tyson at a low in his career, and you know the rest is history. I don't have to tell anybody the way it happened. But the thing that did happen was Tyson got into this tournament, and he was a tiger in this tournament, man. That first fight with Trevor Berbick, he won the title. He beat Pinklin Thomas, and he only had the title for a few months, and they threw him right in there with Mike Tyson.
Ooh. Man, that fight feels like it was yesterday. Like Tyson, I feel like I grew up with Tyson, so I'm a big Tyson guy, and I think he doesn't get enough credit for the fighter he was before he lost to Buster Douglas, before everything went south. He was a dynamic talent back then, and he was only 20 years old.
Who was he fought a light heavyweight, a former cruiserweight champion. The first time I saw him on HBO.
Oh yes, I
Tall, lanky dude.
yeah, and he blitzed him. I remember
Oh,
him. He blew him away. I remember that fight. And Tyson, it's a crazy how big of a name he became before he won the title. Remember him knocking out Marvis Frazier in 30 seconds
oh
on
yeah.
ABC? I mean, he fought Mitch Green on HBO.
I I remember when he fought. It was on the undercard of Mike Weaver and Mike and Carl the Truth Williams, Jesse Ferguson. That's when
Oh,
he made that famous quote. I'm going to push his nose into his brain.
yeah, that was in upstate New York, that fight.
Yeah, the whole card was, and the upset right there too. Mike Weaver, he was. Everybody thought he was a foregone conclusion. Carl Williams had just come off that controversial defeat to Larry Holmes, and Carl Williams was almost, it was like a co-main event where Carl Williams was the up and coming heavyweight, and Mike Tyson was the up and coming, and I just remember that fight for Mike Weaver coming from behind, giving himself a couple more paydays, but knocking out Carl the Truth Williams. I love that because I was a Mike Weaver follower back in the day.
I loved Weaver. And when he knocked out Tate with like seconds ago in the 15th round to win the belt, what an underdog. He had didn't have a great record, but man, and he got robbed against Michael Dokes.
What about the first fight where he lost his title? The referee just overreacted and
Joey Curtis. He just
Joey Curtis, yeah.
And then I thought he won that rematch, 15-round fight. They called it a draw, and Weaver never got another. He got another shot, but he never won the belt again.
No, I don't think he had the vocal backing to really the management. He just fizzled out. He was an opponent after that. Salute my brother. Salute, man. Thanks for coming by, man. We're chopping it up about the great Don King tournament, and Mike Tyson was just crowned the heavyweight champ for the WBC. So where does Tyson go for this? Oh, after this happened, we had before this, Tim Witherspoon went to England and fought Frank Bruno.
God, I remember that. That was summer of '86. And poor Bruno. Bruno back then, he was just the lovable loser from England. And people groomed him, and he got knocked out by Bone Crusher Smith when they fought.
That was one I was going to throw in the background, George. Yeah, you mind watching that one?
No, not at all.
Hang on a second here. We got through the magic of my internet here, I gained one thing and lost another. Let me get that back on again. Yeah, I have to have something in the background when I talk, so I don't lose myself there. And then this all right, man. Here we go, man. We got Tim Witherspoon over in England.
Yeah, they were grooming Bruno for this fight. They were expecting him.
Bruno was the betting favorite.
Yep, he was.
But and Tim Witherspoon went here for short money. We were lucky enough to have Tim on the show, and
he always got short money. Poor guy.
He got well. This was the famous fight where Don King screwed him so badly. He ended up with I think he told us less than $75,000 from a supposedly $500,000 payday, where Frank Bruno, who was fighting in front of his hometown fans, took over $3 million. William Old Schools, shout out my brother. Salute, C's. Shout out to you, my man.
Boy, when Witherspoon was in shape and he was mentally there,
nobody's touching him.
Ooh, what a fighter, man. What a fighter.
Yep. This fight, he was physically there. He was happy to be in England, happy to defend the title, but he knew he was getting screwed. He said Muhammad Ali shook his hand and said, "You know you're going to get screwed, don't you?" That was in that documentary by Jack Newfield. I highly recommend that. It's Jack Newfield's documentary on Don King. It's called The Unofficial Biography, I believe. And Jack Newfield, a great writer. One of the great ones. And he doesn't portray Don King in a very glamorous light on that documentary, not at all. But this fight, man, Tim Witherspoon is young kid. He just won his first title. He's going on to defend it. And now this is a tournament, and a lot of these fighters, I don't think they wanted to win the championship fight because they knew that Tyson was the ultimate prize, and it seemed like they passed it around like a hot potato. Tony Boswell, my brother, shout out to you, man. Salute. I don't want to miss anybody in here because I appreciate you cats coming in here, man, and enjoying the fights with me and George, man. Even if me and George were just here, we'd have a good time. But I really appreciate that. I appreciate you hardcore fans coming in here, man. What can I say? I just said it, the hardcorers, man. Because what they're giving us today, can you imagine if they did this with the heavyweight division where they said, hey, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear any of this litigation. I don't want to hear an injunction. I don't want to hear any of these fights going to arbitration. These fights are going on now. We're gonna put together in the span of less than a year. We're gonna throw 8, 9 heavyweight championship fights at you, and we're gonna get one champion at the end of this. What do you think would happen, George? You think fans would say, "I'm having a heart attack. This can't be happening. There's no way we're gonna have one. We're not gonna have undisputed at heavyweight."
Yeah,
it's not gonna happen.
There'd be shock. I mean, and anything can happen, but a tournament like this, especially in the heavyweight division happening today, I don't think so.
It makes me feel old, but it seems like it was just yesterday when I look at this. And this fight especially, man. This fight was 1986, bro.
Bruce, this was my senior year's summer before I went to college, and I remember watching this fight on HBO, and I wanted Witherspoon to win, but I remember Bruno did well early, and then he just he did what he usually does. But what's crazy about this is Michael Spinks, like you said, he dropped out of the tournament. He ended up fighting Jerry Cooney for big money, and then eventually fought Tyson. But Spinks and Cooney were still two big heavyweights, and Cooney wasn't that active, but they were two of the big names that weren't in the tournament. And Michael Spinks, they made a great business decision by doing that, because I think he was supposed to fight Toker for not much money. He ended up fighting Cooney for $4 million, and then he got the big payday against Tyson.
And that fight was not officially part of the tournament,
right?
But yet it was the coup de grace. It was the end of the tournament because the tournament wasn't complete. We still had Michael Spinks and Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson had all the belts, but he was not the linear. And back then, the Ring Magazine belt carried some weight.
Right.
Vivian, Queen, salute. Thank you for coming by. All right, all you guys, clean up your mouths. We got ladies in the joint. That's you, George. I know you're always uttering those 4-word syllables out of your mouth, man. I want you to clean it up. We got Vivian Jennings in here, and salute, sister. But man, like we were saying earlier with Tim Witherspoon, we just talked to Tim recently, and Tim is a great soul. He's got a good heart, man, and life has just thrown him one curveball after another. Still doing it to this day, but Tim, he's a survivor, bro. Just like he was in this fight. He's in Europe. He's in England, and Frank Bruno's hometown. He was pretty much brought in there to lose. Don King knew it. That's why he didn't pay him much, and he knew Tim wasn't a complainer. But man, we're just going to see how great that this two-time heavyweight champion actually was, bro. And this, shout out to Tim Witherspoon.
Yeah, he, at the end of the day, he's a two-time heavyweight champion, and that's the thing. When you're a champion, you're in the books. You're always a champion, no matter what. And Witherspoon is a two-time champ. And when you look back at his career and you realize how dirty he was done, it makes what he accomplished even bigger to me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, Tim was done wrong. Tim, in this, I don't know. I hate to say what if, could if, but he was just a great heavyweight, and he made the best. Everything was stacked against him. I mean, he didn't even have an amateur career, and what he did in that period of time with the great talent that was there. Because, like I said before, every one of these guys in the tournament practically, at one point or another, had a version of the heavyweight championship belt.
Yeah, and Connor Shawnery brings up a good point about Witherspoon. I remember watching the Holmes fight. He gave Holmes everything he could handle, and a lot of people thought Holmes was going to retire after that fight. And Holmes even might have talked about retiring. Of course, he didn't. But Witherspoon, he really came on the scene when he fought Holmes. He was a huge underdog, and he made it. That's when he made his name in that fight. Almost beat a long-standing heavyweight champ.
That 9th round, we asked him about it when you landed that punch. Did you hear anything? He didn't hear anything. He didn't hear the crowd. He just knew he hurt Larry Holmes, and he tried to go in for the finish. And man, he had 14 fights. He was undefeated, and he was a kid. He got lucky enough to get that fight, and I mean the rest for Tim Witherspoon. It was a great experience, great exposure, and I don't think it hurt him much. He obviously it hurt him because he didn't beat Larry Holmes, but
I mean that elevated him because he fought so well against Holmes. He was such an underdog, and a lot of people didn't know who he was. He only had, like you said, 14 fights or so. He was expected to be another notch on Holmes's belt, and he was not. He proved that he was a world-class fighter that night.
And his role in this heavyweight tournament too. He was in this fight, and then his 1-round knockout loss where he lost the WBA belt to Bone Crusher Smith, where he admitted on this show, he said it wasn't the first time he admitted it. He threw the fight.
Yeah, because he had already beat Bone Crusher.
He
had beat him before.
He beat him easy.
Yeah, that's.
But man, a very, very important player in this heavyweight tournament, no doubt about it, man. Terrible Tim Witherspoon, and this fight here, everything stacked against him. From the payday on, Don King's son Carl King is his manager. Who knows? Who knows what might have been tried? What kind of a drink or a meal they might have tried to slip him, because back in those days they could probably get away with it, and you had to be on guard for yourself. And we never even mentioned that to Tim because he was in hostile territory, and all the stories we hear today. But man, he had
Don King is your promoter and Don King's son is your manager. I mean,
well, they were taking out. They took out a big chunk of that $500,000 purse that he made for this fight.
Yeah,
Don, you can hear Tim explains it in that Jack Newfield, the Jack Newfield story where he says, my manager Carl King says to me, well, my dad took a third and I took a third, and Tim's like, what? So it's Don King. If he was doing what he did today, he'd be under federal indictment, and it would have stuck, because with all the witnesses and how everything's taped and everything that they would have had against him. But back then, he literally got away with murder twice, but for fans, he gave us the best that we could possibly have. Because like we're saying with this series, the only way we knew if a fight was happening was pretty much on the in the TV guide that came in the Sunday paper. The boxing mags were way behind, and there was no
behind.
Oh yeah, 3 months behind, and there was pretty much no newspaper coverage. Maybe a small column every once in a while. HBO would very seldom put in an ad for it, but it was week after week. Every couple of weeks there'd be a heavyweight championship fight, and like we said, some of them were a little on the boring side, but I I guess the quantity it overwhelmed the quality, because there were some quality fights in there too. This
Oh
was
yeah. Has Saint Cruzen said Bruno actually has a better chin than Joshua? You might not be wrong about that. You might not be wrong about that. Bruno was a good fighter. He didn't have a great chin. I mean, he was built like a
he was
Greek god, and he could jab. He had a great right hand, but that chin.
it was that era. There were just so many superb fighters there, and Mike Tyson being the best of the best. Because people often say, "Oh, who did he beat? Who did he beat?" Well, only everybody in the division. I mean, what's he supposed to do? Get a shovel and go to dig up Muhammad Ali? I mean, come on.
Right. I mean, that's everyone. Every fighters always get criticized, but if you beat everyone around you, what more can you do? And Tyson did that when he had his first reign as champion. Now it's different when he came back, but his first reign, he fought everyone that he needed to. He fought.
And even the ones that he didn't need to, he came back, like Pinklin Thomas.
Right.
So, man, I can't take anything away from Tyson. Not only looking back on it, but having lived through it, man. It was you could see the fighters that Mike Tyson didn't want to fight him.
I mean, I still can't get over the fact that he was 20 years old when he won a heavyweight championship, when he became heavyweight champion. 20 years old. I think about when I was 20 years old.
George, we just saw Jaron Boots Ennis the other night. Looked fantastic. And I've been saying, why doesn't he fight Virgil Ortiz? That would just be a great fight. And we know who the best of the rest was.
Golden Boy will never let that happen. But you're right. He should. That would be, yes, please make that fight. But, I mean, Oscar De La Hoya went on record bashing Eddie Hearn with Canelo, saying he should have never fought Bivol. If he was with me, he would have never done that. So take Oscar's frame of mind. He will never let Virgil Ortiz fight Boots unless Virgil's a champion or they both have belts and he can maximize the profit. But yeah, it won't happen in the short term.
Shout out my brother Picasso up there, man. Picasso's an OG. He probably lived through this HBO Heavyweight Championship Series.
Bruce, when I worked at HBO, now it was way after all of this, but it was the same building. There's a conference room where we would have meetings where they would have these meetings about the heavyweight tournament. So when I first started to work there, I knew the history. I mean, I was excited going to the bathroom, taking a dump in the bathroom at HBO, because I said, George Foreman might have sat here, or Sugar Ray Leonard. But so I was in those rooms, and it was the history that was there. And this tournament right here is a big part of their history.
Mark Nash, salute my brother. What are you smoking out there, my man? I am smoking something called Pops Tops right now. It's a funky little strain. I thought the guy made it up because I couldn't find it anywhere. But then all of a sudden I looked a little deeper in it, and the strand popped up. J Blues Radio, my brother. Salute, man. Thanks for coming in here, man. D-Ray, my brother and sometime co-host, D-Ray Promotions. Salute. Yeah, bro. There's nothing like Tuesday night fights. Watching this. Just reliving this whole fucking George, punch me. You can't. You got the screen in between us down there. But this great heavyweight tournament that Don King put on, and Don King, HBO gave him $26 million, George, to get this tournament off the ground. How do you explain that? How could Don King talk HBO into, because HBO didn't want to get involved in this at first, from what I understand.
But it made sense. It made sense. And HBO, I think the prize at the end of everything was whoever had Mike Tyson was they thought would control the heavyweights, and it turned out to be the case. Because HBO signed him before he won a title, so Don King had to have a piece of that. Yeah, it was big money. Say what you want about King, but he did some amazing things regarding making fights. In this tournament, look at Frank Bruno. Frank Bruno just Rock Witherspoon had him on the ropes. Frank Bruno was a type of guy. He looked like he was in such great shape all the time. Just that's why muscles don't win fights. But you looked at him, you said, "Man, this guy looks like a heavyweight champion." But
I'm incredible, and we could take a few fighters from that era. We could put James Bone Crusher Smith up there. We could put Mike Weaver up there.
right,
But most of them, like we said earlier, even Tim. Right now, Tim's in great shape. He probably didn't eat the food. In fact, he did tell me. Damn, I don't know why I didn't think of it. He did tell me there was a basket of oranges delivered to him, and somebody said don't eat the oranges, and he didn't eat the oranges. I can't remember, man. George, this grass that you tell me to smoke during the show, I think it's dumbing me down, and I'm not remembering these things that I should be remembering. But this tournament, bro, it's amazing, man. I can remember these fights like they happened yesterday. And
Saint Cruzan said Pinklon Thomas was one of his favorite fighters of that period. In the Tyson fight, Pinklon had a couple of good rounds in there. Though he had Angelo Dundee was training him.
We're gonna pull that fight up later
from that Tyson fight, but I mean, Mike Tyson then was a force. But Pinklon Thomas is another good fighter, another former heavyweight champ.
You know what I remember about this night of this fight? 1986. I was about a year and a half off of a divorce, and I had this rebound chick that I wanted to dump. She. And I don't think I've ever had too many girls in my life that were actually psycho about me, following me around. I ended up hiding at this girl's house and watching this fight on HBO. And this girl happened to be from England. And she was calling up her father. Her father was Frank Bruno fan. And anyway,
wait, which girl? The girlfriend was from England, or the girl?
Yeah, no. The girl who I went and watched this fight was from England.
Okay.
The psycho, she was from I don't know, from Texas and California and all over the place. But anyway, man, I hooked up with this new chick over this fight, and she was into boxing too a lot. But that didn't work out. But the memories of this fight over here, and he's got Slim Jim Robinson in his corner, Tim Witherspoon,
legend.
One of the best, man.
Yep.
One of the best, bro.
Tim Witherspoon, Philly fighter, Philadelphia, PA.
What do we got? We got Jedi, and we got Pigeon having an argument in the chat. I can't even pay attention to the chat, and you guys are gonna go at it. Go ahead, man. I hope you both got wrenches. Do what you must do out there. Keep it nice.
Do what you got to do in the chat.
Do what you got to do. Me and George are digging on an awesome fight up here, bro. 1986. What is that? That's almost 40 years ago, George, huh? Woo.
Almost. It will be soon. It will be soon.
Time. You know how fast time goes by? I'm gonna have to stop this fight for 1 second here. No, I'll wait till the fight's over and I'll show it to you. Just remind me about time going by. And because I can't stop this fight. This is just too good, man. Tim Witherspoon looks like he's getting a little more confident here. He's taking the best from Frank Bruno, but yet he's still coming forward here. And Tim, he's such a great guy to talk to. He tell you, man. He says he knocks those punches down with his hands. That was a big thing that Tim said he had. He liked that. He could use his hands. They were his best defense. He could knock punches down and get out of the way at the same time. Look at that crab defense there. that Archie Moore crab
Mm-hmm.
defense that he's using, bro.
Good jab too. Witherspoon had just a
Damn.
skilled fighter.
Is he a complete fighter or what? Reggie Owens, my brother. Salute, man. Salute. Boxing conversation with Reggie Owens. Go over there and sub to Reggie Owens and Jedi. Oh, everybody in here, man. You got some good entertainment, if nothing else, on here, man. A lot of boxing knowledge, a lot of just people that know a lot about social causes, things that are going on. But first and foremost, great entertainment. Everybody on here. DP Rocker, my brother. Salute, man. Salute. We're watching the heavyweights, man. Don King, the man who controlled the heavyweight division for a long time. It's too bad that he couldn't be reincarnated into one person. I think he's been reincarnated into about 4 people right now.
You know what? I didn't realize. I forgot that that Michael Spinks was actually part of this tournament. Remember when he fought Steven Tangstead?
Sven Tangstead.
I don't.
It was on HBO.
Yes, it was. I mean, for a guy like that to get a shot at the heavyweight title, it was a pretty not HBO's high moment.
Mick Smith, salute. Well, George, you have to know, man. International audience.
Stephen Tang said the only people watching were his family. He had no audience.
There was a bakery in my town where they made this nice Danish pastry, and they were watching the fight.
Well, there you go. But I forgot that Spinks was actually in the tournament.
Shout out to Mick Smith out there. I didn't see him sneak in. Parrying punches. St. Cruisin knows that's a lost art, man. You know, Terrible Tim, Slim Jim Robinson. You know, those trainers are gone. And even Tim is trying to train people. I don't know what's going on. I haven't seen anything online in a few months by him. I know he had a car accident, and I don't know if he's changes his management. It's tough. Retired fighters, man. I wish I could win this $1 billion lottery and just have a nice big home for retired fighters, George, man. You know?
Yeah, or somehow boxing would do the right thing and help some of these fighters, but that's a whole other show.
Yep, man. We're in the time machine here. We just stepped into that. We just stepped into that freaking Back to the Future car, man.
17, Bruce. I was 17 watching this fight. It was the summer. It was summertime. I was about 30 years old, my man. I was 30 years old, and I remember summertime. I had the sleeves cut off the shirt, Bill. Oh yeah.
Styling, profiling, man. It was good times. And like I said, I was freshly divorced. I didn't have a care in the world. I guess it's been years, but I still don't want to divulge too much. Let's keep it to boxing over here. But believe me, I was having a great time in life. I was having a good time, and not only with all this going on, but this is also Marvin Hagler and Thomas Hearns. I mean, all the heavyweights on. George, tell these people, if you weren't alive in this era as a boxing fan, bro, you don't know what is going on.
That's the era that hooked me, because this was the era. It was that decade was. I don't know, man. I can't say anything that anyone else hasn't said, but to live through it, and I got to live through this like you. What a decade of fighters. I mean, and fights and drama and
And for many, many, many years, I could only keep it in me. A few people I could talk to, but it was like the same old thing again. And we come on here, and it's like, wow, I'm back there. I'm at ringside, man. And believe me, I got this little friend of mine that's helping me out, and I'm 30 years old, and I got my 17-year-old buddy next to me over here, and he's making sure that nobody comes in and disturbs us, and he's sitting here, yeah, he's wide-eyed, and man, he's swinging them fists. I'm saying, George, calm down. You're not in the gym over here. Pay attention. Don't make a fool out of yourself.
Exactly.
And he's going, yeah. Well, I can see it, man. Doesn't get any better.
I remember one summer I was visiting my uncle in Tennessee. I was probably, I don't know, 12 or 13, and they were all going to the local pool. It was summertime, and everyone was going to go swimming. I told my uncle. He said, "So we're getting ready to leave." I said, "Listen, Uncle Bill, I want to stay. I want to stay here. Boom Boom Mancini is fighting. He was fighting Ernesto Espana." I said, "I got." He thought that. He asked me if I was using drugs or something, and was using that as an excuse to stay home. I said, "Uncle Bill, I promise you, I'm not. I have to see Boom Boom Mancini fight. I want to go swimming, but I have to stay here and watch this fight." And I did, and that was the era, man. The fights were on every weekend. Big name fighters.
That was the
fighters,
and that was in his hometown. It was in that football stadium.
Yes,
I remember that fight, bro.
Youngstown.
Yes. Was that after the after he got beat by Aguayo? Was that his first comeback, or was that just? I mean, everything.
I think it was after. I think it was after Arguello.
That's what I thought too, because it was like a welcome home party.
Yes.
And Espana being a former champion. But see, the thing was, we have to think of that time span, because these guys fought so much. Like you say, 1981, they fought 3 times there. Was it before or after? It was so close, it didn't matter. It wasn't like today where, that was 13 months ago. So yeah, that was before that fight. And that other fight was another year before that. No, these guys were active. I don't know why boxers don't fight more often, like any other sport. That's how they make money. I just don't understand it, George.
You go crazy trying to figure it out, but that's why we had these Tuesday nights where we can go back in time. And by the way, Harold Letterman, after 6, he had Bruno up by 2 points. He had a 58-56. So, halfway through, and Bruno was fighting a good fight. But you're right. You'll drive yourself crazy, Bruce, when you compare the eras. So that's why, I don't want to be like my grandfather and say like, oh, things were so much better. There were some things better, back then, but every era is different. So.
Yep. Over here, we got the music from the day. We got the fisticuffs from the day, and the people from the day. This is it's like going back in a time machine, bro. It really is, man. Because there are no more. No, I don't think we'll ever in our lifetime see a tournament like this in any division, where it's all encompassing and every fighter who didn't participate in this tournament.
Right. I mean, even Michael Spinks was in it in the beginning.
Yeah.
So
and he came round robin. At the end, he came right back, promoted by Don King, and Donald Trump and Butch Lewis. You remember those days, man? Donald Trump was a big part of a lot of these fights in this heavyweight.
Donald Trump was one of the other guys that he was in the Mike Tyson business.
Yes,
he was in the Tyson business.
Mm-hmm. Trump Plaza, that huge fights in there. In fact, any fight that was on the East Coast, Tyson had a lot of fights. And you just said it all, man.
Tyson Spinks. Yeah, Tyson Spinks was there.
Donald Trump was in the Mike Tyson business. Right, always sitting at ringside with him, with his family, with Don King. Amazing. You think about things like that now.
Hey, Bruce, imagine we're back watching Tyson and Spinks, and you're seeing Donald Trump in the ring because they announced him. It was his fight. He ran. Would you have ever thought back in '88, I believe that fight was, that Donald Trump was going to be president of the United States?
He got crooked like boxing does to you. He was probably halfway decent guy back then, but hey, man, boxing does that to some people. Did it to Donald Trump. He was hanging with Don King. I mean, what the fuck? I'm surprised Don King wasn't his running mate. He probably would have got more votes.
Maybe if Don King was a little younger, he would have been.
At least Don King is open about it. Only in America, George.
You ever see the HBO movie Ving Rhames when he played
Yes,
Don King?
yes, excellent.
Man, that's a movie that I mean, that was a great
I
performance by Ving Rhames.
Yep. Right from the beginning, where Don King shoots the guy that's robbing him in Cleveland at his gambling house. Shoots a guy running away, and gets acquitted. Don King, he was and then because I follow Don King. I could actually be a bit of a historian on Don King. When he was when he stomped the other man to death, Sam Garrett. That was his friend. I think the guy owed him $600.
Yeah, that was his friend.
That was his friend.
None of these boxers were his. So just imagine what he did to his friend. None of these fighters were his friends. So that's all you need to know.
Well, Don King, he got national exposure through boxing. He was a small fish in a small pond in Cleveland.
It's an amazing success story. What he did. I mean, if you take out all the fighters that he hurt, the fact that he got to be he and Bob Arum, they're the two most famous promoters ever in boxing. And Don King
just had that habit of not paying people and using people. Starting with Lloyd Price. That was the man who introduced Don King to Ali, the singer.
Yep.
He had they owned the club in Cleveland, and Don King bypassed. Lloyd Price was supposedly in Ali's contract. If you read watch the documentaries and listen to Lloyd Price, I'm not sure if he's alive or not, but he said he was in a contract, and he has no ill feelings either. That's the way it goes, and he's from that school where he grew up in the ghetto with Don King. He knows, man, when you beat, you don't fight a losing fight. You accept it and fight the next fight. But Don King, man, he was just a slime ball, ruled boxing, hurt fighters, did what he did, but he gave us great fights. And that's all I remember back then. I didn't care about what he did. We didn't have privy to that information. We just saw the great fights week after week after week. Picasso, I was about to say, I'll put that up there so I can read it. I was about to say that. Don and Donald in the White House, sitting in a tree.
Only in America.
Only in America, man. Only in America.
Boy, the poor English fans watching this. I think around the 8th, 9th round, maybe they saw the parachute wasn't coming out for.
It was a pretty sudden ending, though. I mean, Bruno did get tagged a lot, but I think they still had hit.
I mean, he started the last couple of rounds. Witherspoon is finding a home, and Bruno doesn't have a lot of pop on his shots. Witherspoon, Witherspoon never threw a straight right. He always did that big looping right hand. I remember that when he crashed on Larry Holmes' jaw. That big looping right.
Probably the most powerful, aside from maybe Ernie Shavers and Wilder, the most powerful right hand in the heavyweight history. Top 3. That thing was a thing. It was a thing of beauty. Max Baer. But Witherspoon's right up there with one of the most powerful, like you said, like a sledgehammer. Man, he'd wing it, and all of a sudden he'd get the range and he'd hit you with it. And we're gonna see Frank Bruno get kissed with that great punch, man. Great stuff.
I'm glad I was rooting when Bruno won his title against Oliver McCall. I have to admit, I was rooting for Bruno because he had lost a few title shots, and I wanted to see the poor guy win one. And I remember he decisioned Oliver McCall, and I was happy. I was happy for the guy. Look, he got another payday. He fought Tyson again. He had a rematch against Tyson. He made some good money, but I was rooting for him to win a title. I really was. That I think it was his third shot.
I never see that's when I just didn't have an opinion, and I didn't have Witherspoon. I liked Witherspoon. I was hoping would win, basically because I was like I said, I was at this girl's house and she was British and I was American, and we had a little you're snobby, go get yourself a spot of cheese, but it was a great fight, and I always liked Witherspoon regardless of. But aside from that, there weren't too many favorites I had back then. Even even Sugar Ray and Hagler. I leaned a little towards Hagler, but life went on either way. And I learned a long time ago, you fall in love with a boxer and you're going to get your heart broken.
Remember,
Muhammad Ali taught me that when I saw Larry Holmes kick his ass, and then I heard from Tim Witherspoon some of the stories. But anyway, man, that was the last time. Oh, look at here we go.
See, they're going back and forth. Time. But Witherspoon just had a great chin, man, and Bruno
did.
Bruno couldn't do anything to hurt him.
Not many people could. And when he told us the Bone Crusher Smith story, I had heard rumors of it, and but he right from his mouth, right to me, like, hey, I'll tell you exactly what happened there, because I wanted out of my contract. Because my mother was crying. I said, Mom, no, this is what I'm going to do. Dude, shout out to Tim Witherspoon. I mean, all by himself in a sea of sharks out there, man.
They're screaming for Frank Bruno. Every single punch he throws, that crowd is exploding.
Yep. And Witherspoon, and they both have good jabs. Both have jabs that look like they hurt.
Hey, Bruce, remember all the opponents back in the 80s? The guys like remember Wilbur Vampire Johnson and Fred the Pumper Hutchings? Remember
he had the fangs. Yeah, yes.
They made those guys into, like, they never won the big fights, but I remember those guys.
And guys like Frank the Animal Fletcher.
Yes.
And James Hard Rock Green.
Oh.
They were matinee idols, man.
John the Beast Mugabe.
Oh, and the Beast, he was the best out of all those 154 pounders back then. He fought, and they had great gimmick fights where they had the Animal against the Beast.
Yeah.
Damn. But man, this fight is kind of closing down too. And this it did come as a shock ending.
Ooh. See, Bruno's starting to get tagged now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Tim
knows it.
He knows it, and he's got his corner right there, and confident. Great stuff. The 10th and final round.
Oh no, not the final round.
Oh, this goes to the 11th round.
Yeah.
Sorry.
One more.
All right, man. One more.
Now look at Harold Letterman. It's got Witherspoon after 6. It's been ever since 6. It's from the 6th round on. It's been all Witherspoon. The late great Harold Letterman.
The late great Harold Weatherman. Harold Letterman. Sorry, Harold Weatherman, bro. Blood boxing. Blood. I sent you in your email, man. Check it out if you want to talk. If you want to talk some heavyweight. Don King's heavyweight tournament. I don't know what happened to Mad Chad, bro. I called him up earlier, didn't answer his phone. He doesn't answer it a lot anyway. But I didn't see him in any chat rooms today. Usually you see Mad Chad, in the mornings and evenings. Maybe he's not feeling so good, and you never know, man.
Oh, shout out to Mad Chad.
I'll give him another call later on. But, it's very unusual not to see Mad Chad or G5. G5 usually bops in.
Well, G5. I mean, give him some time.
That's why, man. George, you told me it was only 99% for you, and I sent Blood out an invite to get on here because I thought I was just going to do it myself, and I didn't give a shit, man. I saw every one of these fights sitting in front of the tube, smoking weed, maybe doing something else at the particular date. I don't know. I'm not going to say anything, but man, this is right up my alley. This is what I love talking about. This I love rehashing it, and I can get into detail. These I have no problem remembering things. You just caught me on that 11th round, though. I thought it was the 10th round, but
yeah, next round. But
so many different things going on.
Con Shawnery asked, "What did Letterman do for a living as a day job?" He was a pharmacist. He was a long time.
Yeah,
I did I helped someone do a piece on him when I was at HBO a long time ago, and we went to the pharmacy he worked at. We went to his house in New York, I got to tell you, that was one of the thrills of my life being in Harold Letterman's house. Um, the whole house was just full of pictures and posters and boxing memorabilia all over the place. Harold loved boxing, loved it.
And a pharmacist. Man, there was a part of my life where I couldn't be a pharmacist. That would be like giving a mass murderer the key to the armory and say, okay, I want you to make sure nobody comes and touches these M16s and these howitzers and these 50 millimeters. All right, yes, sir. Nobody will touch these. But man, I admire pharmacists. Now would be no problem. It would be something that would be an easy career for me. But man, great job. And now they're giving them more responsibility. Now they have to give injections. They have to do COVID testing, all kind of things your doctor would do. It's all been dumped on the pharmacist lately.
Right.
Harold was much better as a boxing commentator than he was a pharmacist, wasn't he, George?
Well, you know what? He was a pharmacist for a long time. He was a pharmacist throughout his. I mean, that was his.
9 to 5.
That was his 9 to 5 before he was a boxing judge, and then he was with HBO. That's what.
Now, how about his daughter Julie? Julie, have you met her before?
Yeah, I met her many times. We did a show called KO Nation years ago on HBO.
Yeah.
She was one of the person that she was one of the commentators on that show. So I back in the day knew Julie pretty well. Really, really sweet. And she got into boxing because of her dad. How could you not get into boxing when your father is Harold Letterman?
True, as the coach would say. But well, I can see how that could make you get into it, or how you could totally shy away from it.
Go the other way. Yeah, she did. She
no.
She embraced it, and she loves the sport.
And she's picking up a nice little sideline from boxing herself.
Yeah, she's still out there judging. She's doing her thing.
How is she as a judge? Would you say? I mean, as judging is today, George.
I mean, I don't remember her being in any of the big controversies. So I think as long as you're not a judge that's really well known for bad scoring, then you shouldn't know who anyone is as a judge. That's when you're doing a good job. When they're kind of anonymous, they're doing what they should. They're scoring fights the right way. So her name really hasn't come up, at least not to my knowledge, as being really having some really bad nights.
Opulent LD, salute. Andre, I didn't see you out there. I see blood shouting you out there, man. You know, I pay attention to the fights too much. I got to pay more attention to the chat out there, because if somebody doesn't shout me out when I'm in a chat, I fuck them. I don't even give them a thumbs up, George. But I feel it's my job to shout them out, because I appreciate people in here, man. We're getting 20, 30 people in here. It does me well, man. It makes us feel like we're doing something. Right? We got some people in here that they kind of dig the old fights, and I appreciate it. And the best I can do is give them a shout out, man. So anybody that I missed, type something in there so I don't miss you this time. And like Andre, gotcha, man. Andre Rodriguez, Portuguese. How many Rodriguezes there are? Around here we just call them Rodriguez. Well, it all depends on on how many generations they go back. Usually the younger ones Rodriguez, but the first generation's Rodriguez. A little roll of the R in there, Rodriguez.
Don't blink here, Bruce.
Here we go, man. Watch this right hand. Watch this right hand.
A right, then another.
And George, I think he hits him when he's down too. They mentioned that the Brits were kind of mad about this. They wanted to go for a DQ, possibly a fine here. Check out this knockout here, my friends. Tim was just wound up and he couldn't hold back. And look at the freaking the anger going into those punches, the power. Full effects here, man. Keeping that left hand.
I think when he backs him into the corner. I haven't seen this knockout in a long time. I just remember a big overhand right.
We watched it when Tim was here. And he walked us through it, and he was laughing, and he said he didn't remember that hitting him with that hit with that shot when he was
Ooh.
down. Boom! Oh, boom! One more for good luck.
Yep. Bruno's trying to hold. Yep.
Boom!
There it is.
Oh!
Boom. Boom.
Unnecessary.
Boom.
Box.
Yep. And that's all she wrote.
That's it. Oh, and that's a knockout. That's you don't get knocked out any more than that. And we got
Terrible
Frank
for him.
Cappuccino as the ref in there. Was that Cappuccino in there, George?
I'd be surprised if it was Cappuccino doing a fight in London, but it could have been.
That's why I was a little bit. I didn't think it was, but then at the end, I thought it was. Let me do another hit on this Toker too, and throw another fight in here. Did you have anything particular you wanted to see? Because I had a couple pulled up.
I mean, I could watch Tyson Burbick since we've been talking so much about Tyson. I never get tired of watching Tyson and Burbick.
All right, man. Let me pull it up. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I gotta get it back. I've got to get a take over.
Man, they're going at it in this chat here. But so Bruce is going to pull up Mike Tyson and Trevor Burbick, November 22nd, 1986. Mike Tyson became the youngest heavyweight champion in the history of the sport. And he did it against a guy who had never been knocked out. Trevor Burbick. I remember Trevor Burbick fighting Larry Holmes. He was the first guy that went 15 rounds with Holmes. Holmes had been knocking everyone out in his title reign. But Trevor Burbick was a tough fighter. He was durable. He had a great chin. And Mike Tyson, on that night, there was that famous call on HBO. And it was the new era in boxing, ushered in by Mike Tyson. He swept up all those out-of-shape older heavyweights, and he took over. Yeah, contrary, Burbick was a solid champ and a tough man. He was. And Bruce, if you can't get... Oh, there you go. You got it.
George, I told you, I got this new computer here. I could put 5 of these fights on and it wouldn't lag. I'm learning here. I'm an infant at the game, but that's my only weakness is time over here. But I'm getting it all down pretty well. I just want to make sure I got everything in the background going on. And then what I was going to do was, let me see if I can do this here. I'm going to drop a link. Anybody I only want people who've seen this fight, so people who lived through this era, blood boxing, Jedi, anybody who lived through this. I don't want anybody come up here and asking questions. I want answers over here, man. I'm gonna throw a link out there. We don't do this on Tuesday night fights too often, but I got my buddy George to take care of me if anybody gives me any bullshit.
Yeah,
so
man.
I'm not worried about it.
I'm 17 years old and I'm in college, and Angelo Dundee was in Trevor Burbick's corner, and Mike Tyson he became a legend this night, 20 years old, becoming heavyweight champ. He was everything people thought he was going to be. He did it that night.
Yep. I was 31. I remember coming home I had to go to Boston. In fact, George, the same girl that I was talking about, the English girl, she got deported.
Oh.
And the day of this fight, we had to go up to Boston to her deportation hearing. And I drove back, made it just in time. This was Friday night. No, it was in November or October.
It was November.
November, yeah, bro. I remember this fight. In fact, she got I don't know, maybe a 30-day stay or something, so she could stay here for Christmas. It was a tough time for her, but it's funny how she fit into this tournament too. We talk about this tournament, and we have people in our lives who fit through this tournament. Phil, you're gonna have to behave yourself. I'll give you I'll give you some time. What did you give us?
Yeah,
Give us
yeah.
your input on this tournament.
Yeah, my whole take on this fight was Burbeck. It was the end of his career. This was sort of the start of Tyson's career, midway through his career. My take on this fight is that I think it was a great win for Mike Tyson. Trevor Burbeck was an excellent fighter, so there you go.
Durable fighter. He had never been knocked out. I think everyone was
Yeah.
picking Mike Tyson to win, but maybe not as explosively as he did.
I just you know, when I look at things from from more of a educational point of view, which I don't do often, I think actually you guys putting this fight on, yeah, I think this was a good win for Mike Tyson. I think that at the time it was underrated, but now I'm looking at it on the screen and I'm watching it. I'm speaking to you guys and watching this on the screen. I think this is a good win.
Fantastic. I mean, this is what everyone was hoping for, that there was going to be some savior to all these nondescript heavyweights. Nobody could really take the reins, and Mike Tyson did it. He just staggered Burbick.
And this really was the first legitimate heavyweight that Mike Tyson fought.
They cleaned up the whole division. Everything from 1979, from Leon Spinks to the resurgence, the 8-week training camp that what's his name had with Tyson, Holmes. From Holmes to Spinks, there's like a 5-year period, and I think Tyson cleaned that up. Tyson actually cleaned up the whole.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And
that's what he did. That's what this whole thing is all about, man. That was Tyson cleaning up the heavyweight division, and here we go, man. We're gonna see this devastating second. And Tyson beat. I didn't think Tyson was gonna beat him up that bad. That was the thing that I was amazed at. Like I said, I had come home from Boston, was in court for a lot of time, and
yeah.
The reality of this, how tough Tyson was, because nobody did that to Trevor Burbick. You know, he had that fight with Ronaldo Snipes. He got knocked down, but he got back up, and
Snipes was a good fighter at the time. Snipes,
yeah, he was another one of the guys where that was it.
Yeah.
There we go, one knockdown.
Snipes was no joke.
No, Mr. Snipes was a bad dude.
Yeah.
St. Cruzen says, in my opinion, Burbick was mediocre. Well, he was a tough fighter. He won a belt. He had never been destroyed like this before, ever in his career. Was he a great fighter? No. Was he mediocre? I mean, I guess that's a matter of opinion.
He was the best fighter in the Caribbean. If
there you go.
Just K. Shout out to Just K. No, I think Burbick was a mediocre fighter because Holmes slapped him around for 15 rounds. He was at the right time. He caught Pinklin Thomas. Pinklin Thomas had hot and cold nights. Who knows? Pinklin Thomas could have been strung out when he fought him. But he got. I never forgive him for what he did to Ali. Ali was sick in there, and
that's why you should have been happy about what Tyson did to him.
I was.
Yeah.
But I was also surprised because, like I saw, I just didn't think Tyson was as good as he got to be, because this was his first foray into the tournament, and then he blew it wide open after that.
The thing with the Ali Burbick fight, that was far beyond Ali's career. For me, ended in 77 pre-Spinks though.
Oh yeah, that fight was sad, man. That was in the Bahamas.
It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. My father was living in the Bahamas at the time.
They didn't even have a bell at ringside.
It was pathetic. It was a pathetic fight, and I don't regard any fight Muhammad Ali pre-Spinks won. I don't regard any fight for Muhammad Ali.
His corner there too, man. Bill Caton, Jim Jacobs was gone.
Yeah. Jacobs are gone by then. Still there.
It was Customato who didn't live to see Tyson's first
Customato
fight.
Oh,
was
look at
passed away.
Kevin Rooney and all those guys.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
but look at Don King. Don King is trying to inch his way right in the front there.
Oh my God. Look at Tyson. He was a beast. Tyson was a beast.
Look at the head movement.
Throw the left hand as a fake, and then he would hit you with the right.
Just tremendous hand.
It weren't his speed.
Well, he had speed too, but Tyson at that time Tyson just had a one-track mind. He could listen to Kevin Rooney's numbers, and he was in the gym every day. You know, once he got out of prison, his heart wasn't in it. He didn't have that drive where he was a young, 20 years old, Pigeon. You're 60 and you're trying to box again. Come on, bro.
From somebody from that era, from somebody who used to work in the same pub as the Joe Egan, who was the Mike Tyson main sparring partner. The main thing that we always knew about Mike Tyson, which we always knew about him, it wasn't his dedication. It was the fact that he used to study people from the past. He used to watch every single video that you could ever put on the internet about boxing. The reason why Mike Tyson was such a good boxer is because he watched everything. And when you watch everything, you're going to repeat and return. You're going to repeat, you're going to return, you're going to repeat, and you're going to return. And when you repeat and you return so many times, throwing jabs or throwing hooks, you're going to fucking start doing damage to people. Because when you repeat and return, Mike Tyson, what was he? Was like 13 years old when he was taken from wherever he was. Customato took him. I just think Mike Tyson was a beast. He was a beast. He was an absolute beast, Mike Tyson. And I love the guy. I love the guy. I won't even turn my camera off. I absolutely love the guy. I just think everything about Tyson was the 80s. You had all the WWE, all the films then. Everything in that time was good. And then you got Riddick Bowe, you got Holyfield coming through in the 90s. That was a good era too. The 90s was good too. It was good. It was really, really good.
Very underrated. You're right. That was I mean, nothing will be like obviously the 70s with Ali, but Tyson started this era in the 80s and then the 90s. So many Lennox Lewis and Bowe and Holyfield.
I was watching the Lennox Lewis Ruckman knockout about 2 hours ago. Whoa. He threw the left. He threw the left like that, but then he did the straight, and then he fucking cracked it. Absolutely cracked that guy.
Lennox Lewis, I wasn't the biggest Lennox Lewis fan when he was fighting, and I missed him when he was gone. He was one of those fighters that I missed him when he was gone, and I didn't realize how good he was when he was fighting. He was a great heavyweight champion,
He's up there with Joe Louis.
He's a great heavyweight champion. Yep.
All right, I'm going to turn the TV back on, Phil. We're going to watch Mike Tyson and Pinklin Thomas over here, George. This is the fight that got Pinklin in the tournament twice. Pinklin lost his title to Trevor Berbick, who we just saw get knocked out. But they needed other names to get in here, and they got Pinklin Thomas, a former champion. So man, shout out to Pinklin. Another try in here. Carlos Padilla, referee, man. Another guy we don't see much anymore. But Mike Tyson, was this his first defense, George?
I think it was. This was 87.
This was his first defense.
He almost had Thomas out of there in that first round. Pinklin Thomas weathered the storm somehow, made it to the 6th round, but Tyson came out and almost blitzed him in this first round. Look, Angelo Dundee in Pinklin Thomas's corner. Angelo Dundee was in Trevor Berbick's corner. He was trying to find the guy that could beat Tyson, and he couldn't do it. He
said he was really, really high on on Pinklin Thomas. He said he had a jab like Sonny Liston's. He said that's how good that he thought that left jab of Pinklin Thomas's was. But like I said, man, Pinklin Thomas, unfortunately, he was a heroin addict, and it got the best of him. You can kick it, but you're an addict for life. And Pinklin Thomas just didn't. He went back into it, and it ruined his career. Tay, salute. Thank you for coming by. L Dub, salute to you, my brother. Yes, this is the HBO tournament, L Dub. We're going through it a little bit over here, man. Me and George, we lived through this. George is HBO. He formerly worked there. He got caught trying to take a lens one time, and they let him go. But he comes on here and he shares some of the good stories with us. And we're talking about that heavyweight tournament, and man, L Dub, being the boxing aficionado, can you imagine the red tape that they would have to deal with today to put a tournament like that on? How you'd have to have so many lawyers involved, and you'd have to, every fighter would be represented, and oh my goodness, PBC dealing with the zone and dealing with Top Rank. George, could this happen in boxing at any weight class today?
Yeah, doubtful. I wouldn't say no, because sometimes money makes people smart. Sometimes it makes people dumb. It's doubtful, but look, I hope that something like this could happen.
Hopefully, let's hope. Let's hope.
Yeah.
This is an amazing fight, bro.
Oh,
whoa!
Mike Tyson started to land. I mean, those uppercuts, and he landed something you don't see often is uppercuts thrown on the outside. That's a deadly punch. But Mike Tyson got away with it because he cut back. He cut back so fast. He brought his hands back so fast. But man, usually that's an easy punch to counter. Not with Mike Tyson. Not at this stage of his career. This was when Mike Tyson peaked. 21 years old.
Oh,
he was.
I give Pinklin Thomas credit for somehow
absorbing those
staying
punches.
On his feet.
He's getting lit up, bro. This guy's getting lit.
and Pinklin Thomas showed that what a lot of people said, Angelo Dundee included, that a guy who could box and had a chin could beat Tyson, because Pinklin had a few good rounds, like around the third, fourth. He had some good rounds. He kept Tyson at the end of his jab, but
yeah,
Tyson was still a kid then. Like, people forget. People criticize Tyson at every turn, but he was a kid back then.
But Tyson was in the Floyd Patterson school well before that. He was sort of watching fights back when he was 14 years old. So
yeah, that's what he did. He was like us, but he did it with reel to reels and books, and then VCRs at the end there. But he woke up, he watched boxing. He went to bed, he watched boxing. Jedi, what's happening, brah?
Yo, what's going on, Bruce, man? Thanks for the invite. What's going on, fellas?
Jedi, you remember this fight?
Yeah, yes, sir. And speaking of Pinklin, right? I Bone Crusher, should I say? A lot of people don't remember or don't even know that Tyson, these guys that he fought up here, he used to spar them as well. That's why he knew them so well with movement. He used to spar these guys to the point that they used to drop. I mean, Tyson was basically a student of the sport. This guy, Customato, had him watching, like you guys just said, reels, every videotape that he can find on him, especially Joe Louis and Rocky Marciano, and on his entrances, his entrances. He also had 3 modified jabs within that peekaboo system that Cuss. I'm not sure if you guys ever saw the little old school interview. Well, it was sort of like an interview, but it was an old school interview where you had Muhammad Ali and you had Customato, and these guys were, dancing around each other. And Customato,
we watched that. We watched that.
He said, "I bet I can touch her," and he caught him with the 3 variation jab: the straight, the left, and the right. And Ali was like, "I'm not messing with you," and he walked away. So and not only that, Tyson throughout his childhood as well, when he was in like Spofford and stuff like that, Ali used to come around and visit Spofford and stuff. So he knew Mike Tyson at that age too, because Mike Tyson had met him at that age. So it's like Tyson's hero and I'm glad that he was able to do what he did. You know what I'm saying to Holmes, because it was redemption for us fans. You know, we felt real bad, but we can't take this away from Holmes either.
Right.
Holmes cried. He said he cried, and he did cry at the end of that match because he felt bad at what he had
I mean,
to do.
he was forced to fight Ali.
Yeah.
He had no
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah. He only had 7 weeks. He only had 7 weeks to train for that fight, bro.
But we're
So
talking about Holmes and Ali.
yeah. The Holmes fight with Tyson, I think he had 6-7 weeks to train for that. He was in debt with the casinos in Vegas, so Holmes needed that money from Don King. So
No, yeah, he got it. Holmes was on the couch. Holmes said that he was on the couch. He had 6 weeks to get ready for that fight.
Yeah,
he needed the money,
bro.
but Holmes wasn't gambling. Holmes was an entrepreneur. He's building. He's running the Eastern Pennsylvania. He had the whole town employed. You know, every time Holmes fought, he'd build another building there. You know, Holmes was a smart businessman. Holmes didn't lose his money to gambling, Pidge. I don't know where you heard that.
No. He didn't lose it to gambling, but it was all put through Vegas. That fight was put through Vegas to make money. Like Holmes, obviously.
No, that's why Holmes did it. He was offered, I believe, $4 million to get off the couch and fight Mike Tyson.
Tell you what,
he knew he wasn't in shape for the fight.
Tyson is still the only guy that did that to Holmes, and Holmes fought on for years and years and years past his prime. Tyson's the only one that did that to Larry Holmes. So you know, Tyson may not have Holmes may not have had a lot of time to train, but nobody did that to, even when Larry Holmes was old and way past his prime, fighting Ray Mercer and guys like that. No one ever did that to Larry Holmes.
And look at the war that he had with Holyfield, and you know, Mike Tyson dispatched Holyfield, but Holyfield couldn't dispatch Larry Holmes.
He couldn't do shit. He didn't do shit against Larry Holmes. Holyfield didn't do shit against Larry Holmes.
There's no doubt in my mind that Holyfield beat Larry Holmes.
But
Larry Holmes he did well for himself.
Holmes gave him a fight.
Yeah, and damn, that fight with Ray Mercer.
Yeah.
The old master.
Yep. And when he beat Larry Holmes, didn't Larry Holmes have something he needed?
Well, yeah, a belt.
Right. So how is it that he wasn't dead? And that's something that I'm getting hard. You know, it's hard for me to pass that. I'm sorry, but I got to bring that up. If he had a strap, obviously Champ's got money. You know, yeah.
Why, who said who was in debt?
No. Remember,
Holmes had a belt back then.
Holmes didn't have a belt back then. When Holmes fought,
retired.
Holmes was retired. First of all, Holmes got beat by Michael Spinks, and he never had a belt after that. And that was in
no wait. That Holmes was still linear champ. Holmes was still linear champ after that.
Pigeon, don't make me kick you out of here.
Larry Holmes had lost to Michael Spinks twice, and then he retired, and then he came back to fight Larry Holmes. He didn't have a belt anymore.
Yeah. We're not. We don't have to argue over here because me and George, we lived through it. You lived through this era too, bro. But what are you drinking now, Pigeon? Water?
I do.
I just got some whiskey,
about
whiskey. Okay.
I just want to know where he got the Larry Holmes was broke.
That was he heard that from somebody
from that whiskey. That whiskey told him Larry Holmes was broke.
No, Holmes. No way. Holmes got. Wait, I'm not like one of these guys that checks on the internet, but Holmes did get a legit some sort of thing back in the early 90s. I know he got some sort of IBO belt or some shit like that.
Well,
when he beat Ray Mercer, he
might have had some kind of a belt, but he didn't have a major belt since he had lost.
Ray Mercer won the WBO championship when he beat Tommy Morrison, but Mercer didn't defend it. He dropped it, and Larry Holmes beat Mercer, so he didn't get that strap. Maybe the IBO, he might have got that when he beat Butterbean or some crazy shit like that. Larry Holmes actually he rematched Mike Weaver 20 years later.
Yeah, I watched that. That was in 1998. Yeah. I watched that shit. I watched that.
20 years later, bro.
And I'm gonna tell you something right now, bro. You know, Larry Holmes had the best jab
Yes, he did.
Yeah, no, Con Sean, he'll tell you. Of course, he never gained a major title.
Yeah,
Because there were only 4 major titles.
Yeah, Larry
Yeah.
Holmes
Back
and
then,
Chad.
there were really
yeah,
only
Holmes was a
3.
G.
Even
Yeah,
no.
Holmes was a G.
See,
But
Holmes he didn't need a title. When Holmes was the champ, the WBA never recognized Larry Holmes in a 2-belt era.
where was Larry Holmes
Hey,
from in
quiet,
America?
quiet. Oh, no, don't interrupt me over here, or I'll put you in the
Sorry,
memo. All right.
sorry.
See, in the 2-belt era, Larry Holmes was never recognized by the WBA, even though he beat almost every champ that they had up there. Mike Weaver. It was a joke. They had their convention every year, and they wouldn't recognize Larry Holmes. It just seemed very weird to me. They'd recognize Tate and they recognized Weaver and Coetzee, but not Larry Holmes, who was superior.
Yeah, you
Bruce,
know,
where was Holmes from, guys? Jedi or Bruce?
Eastern Pennsylvania.
and
Wow.
You know what's awesome about him is that his losses, the 6 losses, were to credible opponents, and even on the way out, he fought Nielsen, you know, and at
Yeah,
the
that
time, Nielsen
motherfucker
Ryan
from
was
what was
undisputed.
it, Sweden or some shit.
He
Where was
a
that guy?
That dude has some great resume, great boxing pedigree, bro. Like
Yeah.
Larry Holmes, bro. Larry Holmes is exactly what, like, guys like Larry Holmes, Tim Witherspoon. Those were dangerous heavyweight boxers. You know what I'm saying? They're sneaking that power. They can sting you at, from whenever they felt like stinging you, and then behind the sting would come bang. Oh man, vicious combos.
That Brian Neeson was a bitch, bro. Well, what's that guy from? Oh, fucking hell. Listen, these guys in Northern Europe, where I live, trying to get wins off American guys. Fuck off, bro.
I'll tell you,
Get the fuck
Pinklin
out of
does
here,
not have a
bro.
bad. Pinklin's still got a nice jab.
That bitch.
He's got that telephone pole jab, but he's
Pinklin Thomas.
Mike Tyson is just Pidge. What did I tell you?
Oh, sorry.
Don't interrupt me. That's strike 2. That's strike 2. Like somebody used to say in here. So
sorry.
See, when you get old like me and somebody interrupts you, I lose my train of thought, and my whole idea behind that sentence is gone. So you fucked it up on me. So please don't do it again.
Nice,
Okay.
Bruce.
I only say please once. But anyway, man, here we go. Is this round 6 right here?
No, this is the 4th, I believe.
The 4th round. Pinklin Thomas's last title shot, I would assume. Because like we said before, man, the title was splintered after Leon Spinks gave it up. And it wasn't unified until the end of this tournament, and everybody had it. And Pinklin Thomas, he fought them all in there too. He fought all those guys he fought the guys from the earlier era, like the Coetzees and the Weavers. He fought them all.
Mike Tyson was underrated. Mike Tyson's career was a lot earlier than what people thought.
Yeah, you know that bull spot that Mike Tyson had there for like a good 2 fights after this? That came from him sparring and the fucking leather glove. I'm sorry about the curse, my bad, guys. The glove coming off the top, and it gave him it's something like alopecia, but it's like not. It's like, it's not permanent. It's temporary. Then it was funny because I think the last interview he had, they had asked him, Mike, you want to explain to us that bull spot he used to have on top of your head? He was like, oh yeah. He said, oh yeah, that was for me working out a lot. That was the jabs, you know what I'm saying? And then after a while, I got a little rest, and it's great. But I also want to say, if you want to see Mike Tyson's best inside mat work, like his masterpiece, him going against Mitch Green, bro, all 12. Let me tell you something.
Mitch Green got rinsed, bro.
Mike Tyson, inside work masterpiece, bro. Oh my goodness! Like I watched that so many times and I point Mike Tyson detractors to that. Oh, Mike Tyson ain't good on the inside. Are you crazy? Most of his fights were medium and inside range. What are you watching? We're not watching the Michael Jai White HBO special. We're watching Iron Gerard Mike Tyson. Like, what's wrong with y'all? But yeah, man, just wanted to give you that fun fact about that bull spot.
Hey, Tyson was underrated early in his, especially like this era. people like to criticize everything he did. Oh, he went 12 rounds with Tony Tucker. Guess what? Tony Tucker's 6'5" heavyweight, and at times Mike Tyson was out jabbing him.
Yep.
So Tyson was in this part of his career, it's very much ignored, and they look at Tyson later.
Yeah.
He was not the same fighter when he got out of prison. He was not the same since Buster Douglas. This era of Tyson is very underrated.
For sure. And excuse me. And he couldn't pick his opponents. It was a tournament. It was he fought the winner of the fight before that.
Hey, Bruce. Picasso said, "You sure that bald spot wasn't from Robin Givens?"
Well, I tell him I got mine from making U-turns under the sheets. So, Pinklon Thomas won that last round, according to Harold Letterman, George.
Mm-hmm. He had moments, but a fight's 12 rounds. So, Terrell Biggs won the first round against Mike Tyson and then got slaughtered the next 6. So,
yeah, Pinklon Thomas was always going to lose this fight, bro.
He's got that whiplash jab. Oh, for sure. Well, Pinklon Thomas, I told you, man, if it wasn't for the heroin, Pinklon Thomas would have been a different. I saw him. All those guys, there was so much parity between them. But
he's a legend. Oliver McCall.
Mike Tyson came on here, and once Mike Tyson was on here on the scene, he just showed he was the best of the rest. He went right through him like a bowling ball.
Yes, sir.
He was that good. And Pinklon Thomas, I predicted big things for him, but it's almost like he didn't want to fight Mike Tyson when he lost to he lost his title to Trevor Berbick. It was real lackluster, and these guys didn't realize the purse at the end of this was for Mike Tyson. But then again, they were Don King, so maybe they did realize what the purse was.
What's Tyson here? Like 21 years old?
Yeah, 21. Yeah, this was his first defense, I believe.
Second, someone pointed out in the chat. Yeah.
Okay. And now does he have the WBA and the WBC or just the WBC?
Yeah, he's got the BA and the BC.
Okay, so then, okay, so his win of the WBA, that would be over
Bone Crusher.
That would be over Bone Crusher. That was the Bone Clutcher fight.
Oh my God!
Bone Crusher was another one. He won his title, and 3 months later, he loses his title. Hard luck story. Another one who would probably shine in another era, and he was just another also ran, but he had a piece of that hardware, so.
He's I think he was the first college graduate to win a heavyweight championship.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned that, I remember that being a one of his selling points.
Yeah.
And man, he was just a big freak. And there was another guy in the era the same size as him. His nickname was Goofy. What the hell was his name?
Is that Lance Whitaker?
Lance Whitaker. There we go. Mount Whitaker. Yep.
Goofy. I remember when he. Oh my God.
Goofy. But he was another one. Huge muscles all over the place.
Just not very good.
Exactly. Just not. There was somebody better in there. In that crazy division of the heavyweights before Tyson, he could have won a belt. I mean, look at Bone Crusher. Bone Crusher was a champion.
And I'm gonna say as well, like Mike Tyson on the road to the championships, they prepared this kid at the time. I mean, like an elite, bro. This guy was fighting like 20, 25 times, 30 times a year. I think he did it twice, if I'm not mistaken. And I think he did it twice, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, that alone right there, man, to catch so many bodies, it threw styles in front of him. This is why he had a pedigree at the time that's why he was knocking guys out. He found so many pockets, you know what I'm saying, from a distance. His entrance with his jab, the how do you say, the numbered combos and technique that was behind that peekaboo style. And then I think what broke Tyson in his career was exactly when he lost Customato. When he lost Customato, you had essences of Don King in his ear, J.O. Bright, the rest of these guys, to a point that because his neutralizer was Customato. Customato never let him act out of line. He knew how to act in front of Customato. And I think that's what really just drove him to that, to that side where he was like, F it, I don't care, and just threw everything up and then lost the taste for it, lost the passion for it, and just went for the money after he just became a millionaire and was buying white tigers and shit. You know what I'm saying? Crashing BMWs and giving them to the police, and I'm just glad that he's alive today. We still have him, and he realizes how dumb he was. And he doesn't like the guy that's in the ring now. He don't like that era, even though he knows it's him. It's just that side of him, and I'm just very thankful for him, man. That's like my era.
Yeah.
That's
Jay
my
Blues, Jay Blues. Let me answer a couple of questions out there. First of all, Jay Blues, that would be Frank Bruno and St. Cruz, and that would be Mike the Giant White. That was on an HBO special, A Night of the Heavyweights, and that's who that giant heavyweight would be. It would be Mike the Giant White.
Timber.
Are you sure
OTB, salute to you, my brother.
Are you sure it wasn't Revolta?
It was Mike the Giant White Jedi, believe me.
Oh, because Revolta was one
seven foot tall heavyweight.
One big
fought Michael Mora. Please, Mike the Giant White. I guarantee it.
No, I know.
I'll bet you anything you want to about it.
I know. I'm not challenging you. I'm just
all
saying.
All right, then. What are you doing? Then? Come on. I got rid of Pigeon for you. What else?
All right, Bruce. You have yourself a good night. I'm not trying to challenge you, brother.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just saying. I know who it was, bro. Where'd he go? I didn't throw him out of here. Jedi. Don't get nervous over there, my bro. But anyway, man.
I think he got mad.
He got mad? Nah. Why would he get mad? Who could get mad at us, George?
He didn't get mad at me.
He didn't. Well, yes, he did. You're my co-host. Of course he got mad at you.
Well, I'll tell you what. Who's going to get mad right here is Pinklin Thomas.
You're the guy with the big mouth.
Because his night is about to end.
Pinklin Thomas, unfortunately, this was his last hurrah. In fact, I remember reading Angelo Dundee told him to ask him to retire after this fight, and Angelo Dundee was never with him after this fight. And Pinklin, he stuck with it a few more times. He got the fight with Holyfield was horrendous.
He had nothing.
Nothing at all, man. Nothing at all. But man,
that uppercut, yeah, and then a left hook. Ooh.
I think Holyfield hit him with kind of the same kind of those uppercut hook combinations. And Pinklin, it's almost sad to see him get knocked out like that.
Here it comes. Oh.
Yeah. Bro, sad. Oh, Pinklin. You can count to 100. No, Angelo's right there. Angelo knows best. Jeff Lucietta, salute my brother. Thanks for coming by, man. Yeah, yep. What a fight, man. What a fight.
And that's the guy that ended up winning the whole tournament. Iron Mike Tyson.
Yeah, this was I guess his this was a defense of the unification, yeah. And now for the final on this fight was the fight with Tony
Toker.
Tony Toker, yeah.
Yep, it was that was Mike Tyson's era. Every fighter has his era, and Tyson was for a few short years he was the man in boxing. He ran the show.
We got one more we can show, George. I think we have a few minutes. Want to show Mike Tyson and Mike Spinks?
Hey, we always have time for that.
Give this fight a little intro while I pull it up.
Tyson and Spinks, they fought in 88, I believe. Michael Spinks was in this tournament. He pulled out of it to fight Jerry Cooney. He got a $4 million payday to fight Cooney. And Spinks, Butch Lewis did a masterful job with him, because pulling him out of the tournament, then he beats Cooney. He made himself a bigger name. So he let those guys fight it out. Tyson rose to the top. And then the only fight that could be made in boxing was Tyson and Spinks. Those were the two recognized heavyweight champions, even though Spinks did not have a belt. He was the man who beat the man. Michael Spinks had beaten Larry Holmes. So this was the only fight they could make in that division. And they did it. Tyson and Spinks squared off in Atlantic City with Donald Trump there.
And Mike Tyson was Michael Spinks was very smart. His management, Butch Lewis, they knew the fights to put him in for the most money, and they didn't follow the rules, and yet they ended up where they wanted to for huge. At the time, I believe the largest heavyweight championship fight in history.
Yeah. I thought Spinks was going to lose against Jerry Cooney. I thought Cooney was too big. We didn't know that Cooney was an alcoholic then, and he'll tell you. You read his book and you talk to him. He was destroying his body, but we didn't know that. And I thought there was no way Michael Spinks would beat Jerry Cooney, and he went in there and he just beat Jerry Cooney down and knocked him out. And he got this huge payday because of that.
Jerry Cooney he spoke to me on an interview, and he said that fight he could have won.
Yeah.
And that, he said the Foreman fight, the Larry Holmes fight, he wasn't sure of, but he said the Michael Spinks fight he could have won if it wasn't for those demons.
Yep.
And Michael Spinks, because of that fight, he was the lineal heavyweight champion, the ring heavyweight champion, which held a lot of weight. Tyson was the undisputed. He had the 3 belts at the time. The WBO was still in its infancy. Nobody thought anything was going to happen to it. And this was the fight everybody was anticipating. 1987.
I think it was 88.
88.
June
88, 87, George. If you were living in the 80s, you know they one's right into the next.
Boy, look at Tyson.
Tyson was a wild animal out of a cage over here, man. And Michael Spinks, he looked like he's ready to have a heart attack over here. They say, like a deer in the headlights.
You remember the famous story of Butch Lewis through the
locker, the wall. Yeah,
the wall. Tyson was this was his night. You didn't need Rocky Castellani, John Stewart, or Eva Shane. You didn't need those judges that night. And you knew, a lot of people, I thought Tyson was going to win. I was a big Tyson guy, but a lot of credible people thought that Spinks had the intelligence and the boxing ability and the experience to do something. Turned out that wasn't the case.
And Tyson,
there's your boy Cappuccino. There he is.
There's Frank. Yep. The inside story: Tyson had his manager serve papers at ringside.
Yep.
And
it all started to unravel.
He split up with his manager. He split up with Kevin Rooney. I mean, it all started to unravel.
He got divorced. There's Don.
There he is. Look at this guy.
Don. Larry Hazard behind him. But this is where it all,
Butch Lewis with that famous sport jacket, no shirt.
The tux with no shirt, yeah.
Yeah, that was. It never quite caught on, George. I don't know why. Didn't you wear that to your wedding?
I did. I in fact, I wore it last week, and it still hasn't caught on. So.
They still told you, go and put the shirt on. There he is, man. Look at that.
There he is.
I love that.
Sad. It was tough to see him like that, though. I mean.
Well, I'll tell you, he did not look bad right there.
No, just
You know, we saw him at his worst, but hey, man, you know, it's life. Ali taught us more than anything else, man. That's, you know, don't feel sorry for me.
Yep, he sure did.
And he, once again, man, he's the show stealer, no matter where Ali goes. And that's Leon Spinks Ring Magazine belt. That's the belt Rocky used in the movie.
Give credit to Michael Spinks. He retired and he stayed retired. He's one of the few fighters that hung his gloves up and he never came back. Never came
Facts.
back.
Yep, facts. He had all kind of offers to come back. Multi-million-dollar.
Only 31 years old. He was a young man.
You know, we talked to a lot of fighters that retired very young, but they had such action-packed careers, and they can enjoy it. They don't have to fight until their 40s. And you know, Michael Spinks was a smart man. I'm not a pocket watcher, so I have no idea if he's a millionaire living high off the hog or whatever. But you don't hear any sad stories about Michael Spinks.
There was a very big controversy with Butch Lewis. I mean, we don't have to get too deep, but Butch Lewis robbed Michael Spinks of a lot of his money. They ended up having a settlement, but it was heartbreaking because he trusted Butch Lewis, and Michael Spinks should have a lot more money than he has right now. Boxing is brutal, man. It's vicious it's more vicious out of the ring than it is in the ring.
Still 21 years old. All that this man accomplished between 20 and 21, come on.
218 and a quarter pounds, 34-0, the undefeated heavyweight champion of the world.
I'm gonna do a toke for Mike Tyson, if nothing else. I mean, he smokes that ganja on a daily basis. In fact, he just hooked up with WWE legend Ric Flair.
Yeah, I saw that. Steve Lott. Remember Steve Lott? Steve Lott in Tyson's corner. He just died within the last year.
Oh, no. Sad. Yeah. You know, he was in that ill-fated Buster Douglas corner with the glove.
Steve Lott was this was Steve Lott's last fight in the Tyson camp. He got kicked out with Rooney.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. See, you know much more about him than I do because I remember Steve Lott. He had the apartment in New York, and Tyson used to crash on the couch over there.
Yep. And I met him when we were doing Legendary Nights. We did Tyson Douglas, and I was at his apartment and at the Caton offices, so I got to meet him years and years ago. Super nice guy, super nice man.
So he wasn't one of Don King's. He wasn't influenced by Don King at all.
No,
he was Mike Tyson's friend.
Yep.
See, I didn't know. I didn't know how deep it went. I didn't know if he was he was with King. But yeah, this was like Andre said. Don't blink, Mike. I think that was the strongest punch Mike Spinks threw. He threw that jinx once, twice. That was maybe it. Now he was on defense after that.
This was the first time Spinks had ever been knocked down in his career.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, it seems to take longer. Mike saying, "Well, Kevin, I'm sorry," and Don King, "Don't listen to nobody, Mike. Don't listen to nobody. You're with me now. You're with me." And there he is. There he is with the no shirt, but he does have a collar, I believe.
His bow tie.
Okay,
that was his bow tie.
Good stuff, George. Doesn't get any better, man. Tuesday night fights, great 2 hours, my brother. Couple of flash guests in here, couple of great fights. Couple of our regulars didn't show up, but hey, bro, Tuesday night fights lives.
Train keeps moving, no matter what.
Tell these people how they can get in touch with you, George, without Googling it. I know that's hard for people these days. Tell them where they can find you and what they can find.
All you have to do is put in One Round with George. That's all you have to do. Go to YouTube, One Round with George, and you'll get some fun stuff. If you like boxing, you'll enjoy it. That's One Round with George. Oh, Bruce, before we go, you said to remind you about time going fast.
Oh yeah, time is going fast, George. We said, we're talking about how old we are and anniversaries coming up and things like that. I got this one in the mail. I got this one in the mail this week, man. Look at, see if you can see that.
Woo. Look at that. You gotta go, man.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go for sure,
Okay,
man, for
okay.
sure. 50 years old.
That's historic, man.
That's before these fights, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna see some of these people there. The ones I thought were hot, they're probably gonna be walking in there with walkers, and they'll probably have wheelchairs, and they'll probably have attendants to wipe their chins. And okay, well, this one has to have mashed food. Make sure his steak is sent through the blender before it comes out here. And oh, bro, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna walk myself into, but I wanted to share that one with you and share that with the family. And that's something I have to. That's one of the things I have to look forward to in my life. There's a few milestones that we're gonna cross, and one of them is, man, we're gonna go down to Newark, New Jersey on the weekend after the 5th of October. We're gonna have a dinner for our brother Curtis Anderson, and we haven't got the location down. We haven't gotten all the details down, but it's gonna be the weekend after the 5th of October. I think the 5th is on a Wednesday. This should be around the 9th, and it's gonna be on a Saturday. And we're gonna have a toast to our brother who passed away. He's sitting above you, George. He's up in that way. There you go. That's him, man, looking down on us. Anybody that's interested in that, man, leave something in the comments. I'm gonna figure out a way where we can all get in touch. We can all hook up, and we're gonna do that. And that's one of the milestones besides my 50th high school anniversary coming up. Like I said, man, I'm gonna see all the girls with the hot legs are gonna be wearing orthopedic stockings now. So
you might be surprised. There might be a few that held up.
George, I don't get surprised. I give surprises.
Well, then you're going to give some surprises. Then listen, take some pictures. When we do the next show after that, you have to come back with some pictures. You have to. You have to.
I'll do that, and as long as I don't see any of the Geritol and the Viagra crew in there, then I'm good. I'll hang with them. Maybe I'll bring the Toker 2 with me. Well, we're still in the middle of a pandemic, so I don't think I'll be doing that. But I'll bring a couple extra blunts where I can remember the old heads I used to drive around listening to Black Sabbath and smoking joints and drinking rippled wine at 7 o'clock before class started. But anyway, that's a whole nother story, man. George, next week we'll think of a good topic. Anybody has any ideas for Tuesday night fights? Tuesday night fights, Friday night fights, Thursday night fights. Back in the day, boxing was everywhere, as we just saw. Great feature of heavyweights, and you're never going to see that again. So, my brother George, I'm going to cut out of here, man. I appreciate everybody for coming here and hanging with us, man.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
We appreciate that, and we're out of here, man. I appreciate it, man. Peace, everybody. Salute.